Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's iRock iRacing Series, sponsored by Loud Pedal Gaming, 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Joshua Sobel, and with me tonight is Alan Haley. How's it going, Al?
Close enough.
Yeah, I'm trying.
It's all good. I'm feeling good about tonight. This is definitely going to be a fun one. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we've been kind of messing around in practice looking at these guys, and looks like these cars are going to be quite loose here tonight, so should be some exciting racing. 100 laps under the lights at Charlotte.
Yeah, these cars are going to be slipping and sliding all over the place based on what we've seen in practice so far. And I tell you what, I can't get over the damage model of these cars. It looks so cool just seeing all the pieces just flying everywhere when they're when these cars are making contact with each other. This is going to be so much fun. I love this series.
Absolutely, and for tonight's race, it's going to be sponsored by SETV, R&R Racewear, Loud Pedal Gaming, and Top Notch Creations. So huge shout out to those guys for allowing us to put on this series, as well as iRock for letting us broadcast here on our YouTube page. We're going to kind of go over some of the standings. A lot has happened since last race. We actually have Brian McCann, who actually won in Iowa last week, is up 20 points on Chris Whaley, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, both McCanns went through quite a bit of drama last time at what track were we at last time? I'm sorry.
Iowa, yeah.
Iowa, that's right. Yeah, they both had penalties on pit road, and fortunately Brian was able to recover from it. Kevin's was late in the race. He passed the pace car just before entering pit road, and that I'm sure that was really frustrating for him, so that kind of really messed his night up. But expect him to look for some revenge today. I think he's going to have put together a strong run.
Yeah, Kevin.
And he does. And by the way, he does currently have the second fastest time in practice. Brian is third currently. So yeah, expect them to be up at the front. Hopefully they can go without a mistake on pit road this time.
Yeah, so compared to last week's standings there, we do have a couple of new guys up there as well. Tim Schofield, who was sitting in 7th, is actually now kicked out of the top 10, allowing Lance Riggins to claim that last place spot. A couple of guys move around. Kevin McCann dropped only a spot from 3rd to 4th. Joshua Funkenhauser also dropped a spot as well too. Of course, Iowa, a very loose track, and those guys were trying to do the best they could to tame it. And I think out of all of these guys that's on the top 10, Kevin McCann probably had the worst night out of the bunch.
Yeah, and unfortunate, that was so unfortunate for him because he had a dominant car. I mean, he was in the lead for the majority of the race and just made that one small mistake, and it just came back to haunt him. But again, yeah, I mean, there's no question he is very fast. And speaking of fast, the fastest practice time by Neil Quick with a 30.366. So expect him to be at the front throughout this night. This is going to be a good one, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And going over to tonight's race stats, we're going to be looking at 100 laps under the lights here at Charlotte, 1 fast repair, which is pretty good for this track, I would say, and 3 green-white checkered attempts. Just based off the practice we've seen before going live here, obviously a lot of these guys look like they're struggling a little bit coming off of turn 4. That seems to be the problem turn, but I think that's the problem turn in Charlotte in general.
Yeah, and I mean they're even loose on the tri-oval. So yeah, there's no question that the winner is going to have to be able to be both fast, but you also have to be able to handle your car to be able to keep it under control, to keep those tires from sliding. And yeah, I mean there's no question whoever wins this race is truly going to earn it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, we have qualifying finished. Brian McCann is actually out on the track right now. Looks like he's getting them tires warmed up, something that's highly illegal in the official series. You can see him doing some burnouts there. For those of you who don't know, A lot of guys in official series would actually do burnouts to get the tires pre-warmed, so by the time they hit the track, their outlap really is just pretty quick, honestly. There's not really much of an outlap.
Well, hopefully we didn't just get somebody in trouble. We might have a new rule coming into this league after this race.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look at McCann here and see what he can do. I'm going to jump around while he's doing his outlap. Jimmy Fraser in the 6th looking ready to go. John Stapleton also out on the track. And let's go ahead and go back to McCann and take a look to see what he is going to be doing here. Now, have you driven Charlotte in ARCA races at all?
If I have, it's been a while. So I can't truly tell you how these cars are going to perform. I was, I did race this track not too long ago with the C trucks, but not with these ARCA cars.
Yeah, I know ARCA cars in general are pretty loose no matter where you go, and I think, like I said before, turn 4 is most likely going to be the trouble spot here. Definitely with that outside wall, a lot of people make contact with that, and like we said in practice, turn 4 seemed to be the heaviest part of the track where there was contact, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And even though he warmed up those tires, Brian McCann only gets a 3rd place position currently. Let's see if he does a faster lap here. He had a 30.66 last lap. Looks like it's going to be much faster here. 30.37. Going to put him in 2nd. Let's take a look at Mike Harper just sitting on pit road. He's going out for his outlap currently. Jimmy Fraser and his lap.
What I can tell you about turns 3 and 4 is, compared with the C trucks, and I kind of have a feeling that these cars are going to act the same way. Turn 3 is so tricky because it just depends on how you enter it. Your car can want to spin out on you as soon as you go into turn 3, or it can send itself right up the track and you end up tight and into the wall. So yeah, that's where you're going to see these cars, their race is going to be decided in turns 3 and 4 because it is definitely very tricky. Turns 1 and 2 aren't too bad. You can, if you overshoot turn 1, you can easily, there's plenty of room, you can kind of recover, but it just seems like, man, if you just take turn 3 just the wrong way, it just sends you right up the track, or you spin out. There's really not a whole lot of in between. So that's definitely where these guys are going to have to be careful.
As you can see on screen now, Chris Wally, the last week's standings leader, now down into 2nd place, is coming out on the track, probably looking to see what the other guys were running now that we got most of the pack pretty much laying times down. Trying to give himself an idea of where he should be at.
It sounds like such a small thing, but this is something that a lot of people do consider on iRacing. The longer you wait, theoretically, the cooler the track is going to be. And so, that's something that drivers do think about as the race goes on, and it gets further and further into the night. The track does get cooler and cooler. It's not just a real life thing, it's in iRacing as well. And so it might not make a huge advantage, but hey, a few hundredths or even a few thousandths of a second, you never know, it can be the difference between 1 or 2 positions.
Absolutely. And first lap for Chris is going to be a 21.038. Going to put him up in 15th. Let's see if he can do much better on his 2nd lap. Not sure how many of these guys are comfortable with 1.5 mile long tracks. I know 1.5 mile longs for me are literally where I shine. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, I would share some of the things that these guys are saying in the in-game chat, but I think that'd get us a little bit of trouble. But they are definitely voicing some of their frustrations with the behavior of this track so far. It's pretty entertaining to see.
And as you saw right there too, I'm not sure if Chris was able to get in his last lap. It literally, timer hit 0 right before he crossed the line. I'm not sure he's going to have a 2nd lap put in, so that may cost him in gridding. As you can see, the guys are getting ready to go here, and we are going to go through tonight's grid, sponsored by R&R Racewear. We're looking at Neil Quick being the fastest here, 30.27, sitting in that first place position. Beside him, Kevin McCann and the 133. Brian McCann right there alongside his brother, sitting in row 2, alongside Joshua Funkhauser in the 15. Matt Henry in the 19. And Evan Faust in the 78, row 3. And row 4, we got Mike Harper in the 4 and Colt Cecil in the 63.
In row 5, we have Paul Buzzle, and followed by Vincent Short. Row 6, Alan Warnecki and Chris Quick. Row 7, Tim Schofield and Brandon Mefford. And in row 8, Hunter Clark and Jimmy Frazier.
And row 9, we got Chris Wally, so it looks like that lap did not count for his second one, sitting in that 17th position. Alongside him, Kyle Pennygraph in the 14. In row number 9, Jared Wiedner, I always mess up that one, in the 33, and Dakota Clark in the 34. In row number 10, we got, or 11, sorry, John Stapleton in the 77 and Jeffrey Goebel in the 92. Got Ken Harper in the 81, and alongside him, David Tremblay in the 96.
And closing out the field, row 13, Stoney Benfield in the 66 and Dustin Buck in the 68. We saw quite a bit of Dustin Buck in the last race, and that wasn't necessarily a good thing. He was definitely struggling with this car, so he'll try to have a better performance here tonight. And we will close out the field with Wyatt Hedrick in the 22 car and Cody, well, it says Cody and Jorgensen.
Shared account, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. In the 45 car, and starting last will be the 69 car of Justin Hayslip.
That's going to round out your field. Charlotte, it's of course a 1.5 mile long track. The banking and the turns are going to be about 24 degrees with your 5-degree banking on the straight, so kind of sharp for a 1.5 mile long track. No progressive banking here, so it stays 24 degrees all the way around. And like I said, with these ARCA cars already being loose, these things are going to get pretty dicey in the long runs.
Yeah, no question. The only question that I truly have, and we'll find out in about 20 or 30 laps from now, but these cars react in different ways. And on some tracks they just get more and more slippery as the run goes on, but then other times they get tighter. And so that's going to be really interesting to see. Are these cars going to slide more or less throughout the run? At Iowa, they definitely slid more throughout, so I'm kind of expecting that same thing to happen tonight, but we will see in just a moment.
Absolutely. As we're looking at the start-finish line here, pace car is about to go off as these guys are coming into the picture. And in the restart zone, green flag is in the air, and we are racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And boy, Quick did not get off to a good start. He's already lost the first 2 spots.
Yeah, as you can see there, Kevin McCann in 133 holding that low line, taken away from Neil Quick, who was on his bumper, Funkenhauser in that number 15, and Brian McCann in that 1 car battling for that 3rd and 4th place position.
And you see early on, the bottom lane does seem to be preferred. That's oh, we got the leader, gets loose, is able to somehow keep it corrected, but he's going to lose the lead.
Yeah, just like that, Funkenhauser up from 4th to 1st like it was nothing. And I'm not quite sure what happened there. Kind of caught out of the corner of my eye, but Kevin McCann now dropping all the way back to 6th.
And he just hit the wall too. Yeah, he is having some early struggles. That is shocking to see. I expected him to, as soon as I saw him get the lead, I was thinking, oh, here we go. He's about to run away with it, and just all of a sudden got loose in turn 3. And that's what happens. You get back on that throttle just a little too soon or a little too much, you pay for it dearly.
Absolutely. Now, Kevin McCann dropping back down to 8th, Neil Quick down to 6th, them starting 1 and 2 at the front. Problems early on, but we got a long race ahead of us, so guys just kind of need to calm it down, get the filling out, and hope for the best. As you can see, McCann wanting to quickly get back up to the front there.
Yeah, he's already putting some pressure on these guys, trying to get back up there. But yeah, I mean, you certainly don't want to use up your car or the tires. And yeah, I'm looking at him now. He was even loose on the tri-oval. This is just going to be a slippery, slippery time that these guys are going to have here tonight.
Absolutely. He's got a handful now with Mike Harper in the 4 car and Evan Faust in the 78 trying to battle him for that position. These guys now going into turn 3. Faust on the low side of Harper trying to take that position away. But turn 4 has got that weird type of entrance and exit out of it. It's kind of nice going in, but then you get this weird like tightness mid-turn, and it kind of forces you up the track just a bit.
Yeah, this is a good job by these guys. You see it very single file right now. They're just trying to put in some laps, and that is definitely what you want to do right now, to get a feel for the car, feel for the track, as we do have a battle for the lead, however.
Joshua Funkenhauser being battled by Brian McCann. Brian McCann on the low side, Funkenhauser on the outside, not wanting to be there as it's going to get tight, but gets a good run off of turn 4 side by side as they come across the line. And McCann is going to take that one by just a bit.
Yeah, and even the tri-oval here is very tricky because you can slide right up into the other car. So that's something that these guys are going to have to try to prevent throughout tonight.
Absolutely, and you can see Colt Cecil there in the 63 pink car going down low on Joshua Funkenhauser. Going to take that spot away, putting Josh back up on that high side there. And this time, unfortunately, Cecil is going to clear him.
And I think we've had some early struggles. The 69 of Justin Heislip had some issues, and there's some more trouble right now. So we're gonna have to try to get this sorted out right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's still sitting in the pits. Looks like he's got some right front damage there.
Yeah, he made contact in turn 1 with another car who was coming off the wall. So yeah, we might want to take a look at the replay here in just a moment, and you'll be able to see what happened there.
Get this booted up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay here for the 69. See what happened to him. There we go. He's out on the track here.
Yeah, it's going to be between him and the 66 of Stony Binfield, coming off of turn 2 right here.
Yeah, just like that. The right front completely done for. Gets in that inside wall. He's going to get a tow back. As you can see, sometimes this damage model is really awkward and puts you in a weird position. But just like that, he's back out on the track.
And we are under caution currently. Just came out. He did take a quick repair. So we're going to try to figure out what happened just now to bring out the caution.
Take a look across the field. I see Ken Harper's got some damage in that 81 car, so let's start there and see what we can find out.
Yep, that is definitely what brought it out. 81 car, Ken Harper.
Yeah, it looks like the 68, unfortunately, a Dustin Buck, most likely going to be involved in this. And just like that, both guys coming off of 4, gets into the wall. Harper just loses control. Buck, unfortunately, gives him a nice little shove on the corner panel there and puts him around. And again, this damage model being a little weird. Looks like the car, the car, just the wheel is all jacked up, but he's able to drive it. It's really odd.
I guess that's a flat tire. I don't know.
Let's ride along with him and see what was going on here. See, up against that wall there.
We talked about it. He just got tight there. And you see the hood comes up. That's never a good thing. And that's turn 3 and 4 for you here at Charlotte. It's just a very tricky turn, and you saw him get in trouble there.
Unfortunately, like we were stating before, we know Dustin Buck in Iowa having some misfortune, unfortunately being one of the guys bringing out the majority of the cautions at that race, and now he's involved in the first caution. As you can see, he is going to the pits.
And by the way, we had some yellow flag drama. The 69 of Heislip came and took out the 66 car. So there's definitely some a little bit of bad blood between the two. He caught up to Stony Binfield and just flat out sent him around in turn 1. So Yeah, definitely some drama here.
See if we can find that. Okay, here we go. So Stony Binfield in the 66, they got into an earlier incident, didn't bring the caution out. You see Justin coming into the picture right there. And he's just, yeah, that's just not what you want to do. Like, lap 11. You're only 3 laps down.
Definitely too early to be doing that. I mean, you understand the frustration, but yeah, at the same time, definitely not something that this league is going to look at kindly.
Absolutely not. I'm sure he's going to go to the trailer at the end of the race here. So Justin is out of the race.
And he did disconnect, by the way.
And unfortunately, Benfield in the 66 is going to have some decent damage on that right rear. Not sure how much it's going to affect it. I think aerodynamics on these cars are pretty important, especially in the ARCA cars. So we'll have to see if he's going to stay out and kind of get an idea how it's going to run, or if he's just going to bring it in and go ahead and take that repair. Looks like he is going to chance it. Back up front. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alan.
I was going to say, the good news is the rear end and not the front. So, don't think it'll hurt him too much speed-wise. But, yeah, definitely, that is definitely frustrating to, you have a tough amount of time when you do have any kind of damage. So getting that under caution for, really a racing incident. I mean, I wouldn't really put blame on either driver. They both kind of got in trouble, coming off of 4. So just frustrating. But yeah, definitely don't want that extra damage during the caution.
No, absolutely not. So now with Justin out of the way and Dustin in the back of the pack due to that last one, Ken Harper is a lap down. So we saw him kind of up front, not like too far up front, but at least he was up in the front of the pack. But now he's scored a lap down, still on pit road, 1 minute and 53 seconds, trying to get that damage repair. Looks like he's not going to risk it with the quick repair. Probably knows that there's going to be more cautions here tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty safe bet. Still, as long as you can just stay 1 lap down, that means there's going to be plenty of time for you to get that lucky dog, assuming that the cautions do come out. And as much as these guys are sliding around, I think that's a pretty safe bet. If, these guys were doing, able to control the car a bit more and weren't sliding their tires, then, maybe you can, you'd be a little worried. But I think there's going to be a number of cautions here tonight.
And like I said, we got 1 fast repair here tonight, so some of those guys are already taking that early as we're only 13 laps in. It's going to be tough, quite honestly, because you never know what's going to happen. It's 100 laps. You got a lot of guys that are wanting to get up front early, wanting to use those tires up, and tires are going to be a huge thing here compared to how they were at Iowa. Especially that right front late in the race. If we get some green flag runs, we're going to have to start seeing when guys are going to take their green flag pit stops if we get a chance to see it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised with Iowa. We saw it at the end of the race. We thought that the new tires were just going to, run the field over, and it didn't really happen. Nobody that ended up getting the new tires was really able to make a whole lot of noise late in the race. Now, when you're at a short track and you're having a green-white checkered, there's only so much you can do. There's only so many positions you'll be able to make up. But yeah, I think the fact that Charlotte is a bigger track, you'll definitely see that come into play at the end of this race.
Absolutely, and you see the pace car lights are off. The guys are coming around turn 3 and 4 here. And we are about to go racing once again. But quick rundown on your top 5 currently. Brian McCain, Neil Quick, Matt Henry, Joshua Funkhauser, and Kevin McCain rounding it out. And just like that, Brian McCann, I keep saying McCain, I just heard it in the back of my head, but Brian McCann taking a huge jump on that restart. See these guys single file kind of back here going into turn 1. Nothing too crazy going on. Looks like Colt Cecil there's battling Vincent Short and that nice little red metallic 150. A little battle going on here. Everybody else up front staying pretty much in line with one another. Kevin McCann working on Matt Henry and that 19 car going into turn 1.
Yeah, these guys doing a nice job on these starts. Not seeing a whole lot of aggressive racing. They realize how how slippery these cars are, and they're single file right now, but it'll definitely pick up throughout this run.
Absolutely. Charlotte is going to be a handful, but so far, so good. We'll see what happens. You see Henry and Buzzle there in the 9 battling for position in that 6th place spot. Buzzle right on that back end of Henry.
And watching that, you could see Buzzle almost lost it on the tri-oval, but then Henry was the one that got loose in turn 1. So just, I mean, these cars, when they're close together, there is such thing as aero loose with these cars, and I think we're definitely seeing that. It's hard enough to get around the track by yourself, but when somebody's right beside you, it just makes you have to think even more about getting through these turns safely.
Absolutely, and Faust is jumping on the opportunity to go under Henry as they go into turn 1. Kind of following Paul there, gonna see if he gains that spot on the backstretch. Back up front, Ryan McCann all alone, quick, only about 4/10 off the lead, but he's got a battle with the 15 of Joshua Funkhauser.
And Buzzle gets in trouble there. That caused who's that right behind him, Henry, to slip up, and now the 72 of Warnecki is entering the battle here.
Things are dicing pretty quickly up here in the top. Well, we got about top 10 spot here, 6th through 9th, all battling out. You see Colt Cecil there drop down low, trying to get underneath Vincent Short, not going to get it done. Right behind him, Chris Wally actually making pretty good ground up at the 11th spot after starting 17th. Hopefully he can stay out of trouble and get some points. Out the rest of the field, everyone's pretty much single file. Cody and Jorgensen with Wyatt Hendrick back in 23rd and 24th battling it out here.
Oh my goodness, Paul Buzzle really having a tough time right now. He almost lost it coming off of 2.
Almost 3 wide into turn 3 and 4. Warnecki getting loose right there on mid-turn of 3. Luckily saves it, and Short's going to go around him, and Cecil's also going to gain a spot.
Meanwhile, the top 5 is perfectly fine with this. They're seeing these battles and just trying to distance themselves from the rest of the field. They, the top 4 especially, have done a nice job of staying single file and just trying to run fast laps and keep the car under control. But man, back here it is definitely these guys are racing as if it's the last lap.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising seeing some guys who have that low line trying to take the midline into turns 3 and 4, which is something I don't expect early on. I see a car down low there from Chris Wally's point of view. Who is that there?
Looks like it was the 34 of Dakota Clark. Not sure what happened there. He does have some rear end damage, so he did get that somewhere.
Take a look at him.
He got loose on the tri-oval, hit the wall, and ended up hitting the inside wall as well as the outside. Boy, this is a ride here.
Yeah, we're gonna look to see what happened to him coming off of turn 4 here. Gets loose into the outside wall hard. See the sparks coming up on that thing. Gets it loose, nails the wall again. I think the wall kind of helped him, but unfortunately hitting that inside wall. This seems to be a favorite spot tonight, is that pit exit.
And while we were looking at that, I think somebody else had some trouble near the front of the field too. So we're going to need to take a look at that. Oh my goodness, there was almost a caution.
Looking at...
It's the 92 of Jeffrey Gilbalt. He is in a load of trouble right now.
Oh yeah, his hood is completely over. This is probably the scariest thing that you'll see. I mean, he can't. I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. I don't know if he has a spotter.
The 83 plowed into the back of him. Brandon Mefford, his front end is awfully damaged right now as well. He's going through the same thing. He has his hood's up in the air.
Let's take a look.
Actually, he's now in the pits currently, but yeah, he had to take a quick repair.
Man, this happened a while back with him here. We'll take a look at Jeffrey Goldbolt, see what happened. Looks like he's battling the who is that? Sheffield there in the 12. Oh yeah, wow. Just gets
And just-
really loose.
And just keep your eye on him. He's gonna get rear-ended here in just a moment. I think it might be on the next lap where that happens.
Clark in the wall there as well too. After that, don't know how he manages to. Oh well, he gets in the outside of the wall.
Yeah, he was definitely having issues. The drivers were talking to him, trying to get him to pull over, and he said that he couldn't turn the car. But yeah, just keep following him here, because when he gets to the front stretches, I think that's where you're gonna see his rear end just get destroyed.
Yeah, if I was him, I would have probably hit the brake down on the apron. I mean, I guess it's hard because you can't really see.
Yeah, he said his car wouldn't turn, so as damaged as it is there, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, okay, sorry. I guess it's the lap after. Sorry, we're just gonna stick with the replay for a little while.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. We'll kind of take a look back up front here and see where we're at. McCann still leading this thing. Neil Quick up there in second spot in that number 2, battling him. And just as I'm looking at Funkhauser, we just had where did he go? Just saw him for a second. He disappeared off my
Brandon
list.
Mefford was the one that got in trouble there.
Mefford there he is, 24th spot. Yeah, he got a little loose. Take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, just it was kind of bad timing here. He did come down, but at the same time, Funkhauser did go up a bit too.
Yeah, there was definitely contact.
I think that was just bad timing there. Both cars kind of got in trouble in the turn there.
Yeah, absolutely.
If this was real life, I think this is where we would say that there's probably oil on the track, but that is fortunately not a thing in iRacing, so we can't. Unfortunately, the drivers can't blame that.
Absolutely. But weird, we're seeing a lot of action on the track. But
yeah, this race has been interesting so far. A lot of just chaos right now.
Yeah.
Just having just a tough time keeping up with it, but we're doing our best.
But what's interesting is that even though we've seen chaos across the track, we haven't had a yellow since lap 13. So even though people are really running this thing, we've had guys spin out at the end of pit road. We're still green. 30 laps in just about. And
I think nobody wants a caution more than we do right now just to get resorted. I mean, it's just these guys are all over the place right now. It's fun to watch though.
Absolutely. McCann again is just running away with this thing. Neil Quick now 1.8 seconds behind him. But it looks like Brian is coming up on some lap traffic there. Coming off of turn 4, probably Ken Harper and Dakota Clark.
And what's interesting is there's currently no car is 1 lap down. We have 2 cars, the Brandon Mefford and Dustin Buck, who are currently 2 laps down. Jeffrey Gilbalt 3 laps down, and then Dakota Clark 10 down. Ken Harper 20 down, and then Justin Highslip, we saw him earlier get in trouble, 23 laps down. But right now, I think these lap cars are in okay shape, because if they get past, they can still, be a candidate for the lucky dog.
Absolutely, and we see Joshua Funkenhauser here in the 15 battling Matt Henry's battling Joshua Funkenhauser there. I was going to see what was going to happen when Josh got back up there with Medford, but Medford is pulling away, even though he is back in the 24th spot, 2 laps down. But right now, the 19 and the 15 are battling for 5th place position.
Yeah, and that's literally the only battle really going on around the track right now. After all that chaos, it's kind of helped these cars spread out a little bit. So I think these guys are okay with that right now. Now they can just focus on, turning some laps and trying to keep from getting in trouble. The leader, oh my goodness, the lap car just got in trouble right in front of the leader. Fortunately, didn't turn it. It's Dustin Buck. Yeah, he got really, really loose on the tri-oval, and even coming off of 4. Very unfortunate for Brian McCann that he didn't get into a wreck there.
Let's take a look at the replay here and see what he had to deal with. Buck just unfortunately kind of, well, let's see if he gives up any room or what happens here. Going into 1, yeah, not too bad. It seemed like he had some space going into 1 there, so nothing too crazy. But McCann just kind of up there all by himself right now, hanging out. This is the time I would start saving those tires kind of really saving fuel to see how far you can push. I mean, you almost got a 3-second gap on the second place car, which is Neil Quick there in the green scheme. And then even behind him, you almost got a whole second from second to third with Evan Faust in the 78.
And we did have a little bit of trouble between the 11 of Hunter Clark and the 12 of Tim Schofield coming off of turn 4 about a lap ago. They both got into each other. The 11 of Hunter Clark got a little bit loose, almost sent Schofield around, but unfortunately fortunately he was able to keep it under control, and they were both able to keep going. So no harm, no foul there.
One person has dropped quite a bit since we last talked about him, Paul Buzzle in the number 9, fortunately sitting 21st. Only the third car on the lead lap, about to be actually the second car on the lead lap now, as Kyle Pendergraft in the 14 just got lapped. So yeah, rough night for Buzzle, as he was up in the top 5 early on in the race.
I'll tell you what, I didn't expect to have to use this word as, Dustin Buck, got my eye on him right now, getting in even more trouble. He hit the wall fairly hard in turn 4, but this is a word that I would have used at Iowa. I didn't expect to have to use it here. Survival.
Yeah, right now it's almost like a really weird, like, destruction derby, but
exactly.
I really don't know how to, I really don't know the words I'm trying to say besides just a destruction derby. It's just odd seeing actual incidents, but not having a flag waved. It's really weird to me how well everyone's keeping it together, but at the same time not.
Yeah, and if you're Brian McCann, you're just you're trying to just not listen to your radio. You're trying not to focus on what's going on behind you, just trying to run clean laps. But as much trouble as some of these cars have gotten into, I'm sure he can't help but be a little paranoid to see these lap cars in front of him. I mean, you just think all it takes is for one of them to get in trouble, and that can completely end your chances of winning. So he's definitely, even though he's in the lead and has a very comfortable one, he's definitely, his eyes, I'm sure, are wide open right now, trying to keep this car clean.
Yeah, luckily for him, he is catching the lap cars in good positioning. Most of them he's passed either coming off of a turn. I actually want to go to Buzzle because it looks like he is riding that high line. But McCann there in the 1, looks like he's been catching most people either coming off of a turn or on a straightaway. So that's definitely the place you want to be if you're going to catch a lap car. The last thing you want to do is battle and then have traffic in the way. So I would say McCann is in a really good spot when it comes to the lap traffic currently. Neil Quick, 4.4 seconds behind. That gap is getting massive, but Evan Faust in the 78 is finally starting to catch up to Neil Quick after getting around the 68 of Dustin Buck there. We'll have to keep an eye on Buck. He seems to keep things interesting, we'll say.
And what's going to be interesting is, when is the pit window going to open up? I wish that we had more for you, but we were not really able to get an answer as to what the fuel run is for this race. I think around lap 50. I think you're going to start to see some people come down pit road and hope for a long green flag run so they can make up more and more time. But yeah, I mean, only time will tell when these cars start to come down pit road. And that's when you're going to see things just really get even more scrambled.
As you see now, Faust finally catching Quick, going to the low side. Quick on that third line into turn 1 is going to slow him a lot unless he gets the momentum off the backstretch, but he's not. And Faust is going to clear him there going into turn 3.
And we do have several cars very close to each other. Almost had an incident in turn 3, and it was Paul Buzzle. He's coming down to pit. He is coming onto pit road. So here we go. I think we are starting to see these pit stop strategies take place. But man, he almost, in the process of slowing down to go onto pit road, he almost caused an incident there. But fortunately, everybody was able to keep it clean.
And just like that, Ken Harper in the 81 car, 32 laps down, was on pit road for 19 minutes and 31 seconds trying to repair. And I guess almost at the 20-minute mark, he just threw the towel in and has resigned from tonight's race, putting her on the hauler and going to be heading to next week's track. So hate to see it there for Ken Harper in the 81.
And by the way, we are seeing quite a bit of runoff between these guys. You know, the best laps for these guys and what they're currently running. The leader, Brian McCann, his best lap was a 30.69. His last lap was a 32.33. So definitely almost 2 seconds of runoff between where they started and where they are now.
And even with that, he's still running 0.3 faster than... Really, I mean, he's running 0.3 faster than second and third right now, but the rest of the guys are almost in 33s.
Paul Buzzle spinning on pit road. I'm not sure what happened there. He got really loose coming off of 4. He was just in the pits. And that's what happens sometimes. Those fresh tires can really mess with you because all of a sudden you have that grip and it causes you to be too aggressive. He just came right around. I think he did clip the apron, and I think we just saw is there supposed to be an outside is there supposed to okay, so yeah, there is an outside pit wall. It's gray. I've never seen that. I did not know that was a thing here at Charlotte.
I didn't either. I think it might be from honestly, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
I guess that's for the chicane. That has
Probably,
to be.
Yeah, most likely.
So yeah, that is interesting. I did not expect to see that. All of a sudden, I was watching him spinning on pit road, and all of a sudden he hit a dark gray wall. And honestly, for a second, I thought we had discovered a glitch in iRacing, but it turns out, yeah, that is an actual wall.
And for Buzzle's sake, it actually helped him, because if that wall was not there, he would have easily gone into the tri-oval grass area, depending on how... I mean, he had a lot of speed coming in, so there's no telling where he could have ended up. He could have came right back up on the track and unfortunately got into other people's ways. But Paul Buzzle is retiring from the session, went ahead and put it in the garage, unfortunately. Going to be scored at 26 here currently. That now leaves us with 15 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see these guys retiring so early when, you would think that they would at least, try to get their car repaired, even if it's not up to speed, and, maybe get some points, but I guess these guys are just getting really frustrated with this track right now. And, again, we heard that before this race even started. These guys were kind of voicing their concerns with this track. They're just all over the place, sliding around like crazy, and we're seeing that frustration kind of take over right now.
Yeah, you saw there Alan Warnecki in the 72 battling Kevin McCann in the 133. Kevin McCann not really doing too much. His brother Brian looks like he's kind of running away with this one here at Charlotte. Now has gained a 7.5 second lead over Evan Faust. Curious to see what Kevin can do if he can get back up there and battle his brother, as he's he's dropped down to 4th in points, so everything he can get is going to really benefit him. But right now, he's in an all right spot. I mean, top 6, nothing too crazy going on, but we'll have to check back on him and see how he does later in the run. Don't believe he's pitted either.
No, he hasn't, and currently not running very quick. Brian McCann's last lap was a 32.4. Kevin McCann's last lap was a 33.21, so that's a big difference. Now, he did run a better lap that time, 32.95, but still, that is over half a second slower than what Brian McCann, his brother, is currently running. So that gap is just getting bigger and bigger as this run's going on.
And we see Jimmy Fraser there in the 6 car has got some damage. I thought McCann might be coming in, but it doesn't look like it. He's actually there trying to hold off this 3-way battle of Fraser in the 6, Joshua Funkhauser in the 15, and Mike Harper in the 4 car. We'll have to see if Fraser can get around McCann here, as he is on that high line now, coming off of the backstretch. It's going to get help from the 11, but the 11 going to go down low. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I thought it was going to be 3 wide for a second.
Yeah, and this is where you have to really start to worry about, new tires versus old tires when when these guys are this close to each other.
Oh,
Oh
the
my
63
goodness.
of Cecil is getting dangerously close from
That's
that
exactly
gap.
what I'm talking about. He has brand new tires, and these guys are slowing him up. And you want to give, you want to give a little bit, but at the same time, you don't want to get slowed up too much. And so at some point, you have to say, these guys have got to either move over or just get run over. And we almost saw almost saw a big crash there. As boy, these guys are awfully close together right now.
There's a bunch here. The 77 right there just hit the outside wall. That's John Stapleton, who's also with Short, and Fraser McCain is coming up on him as well too. But John's sitting in 14th spot. I saw out of the corner of my eye Dustin Buck in this as well too. Curious to see.
Yeah.
It looks like they got around him just fine though.
Yeah, and the 63 of Colt Cecil is another one that has these brand new tires.
19.
Henry, he just nailed the wall in turn 4. So, I mean, we're seeing. So it looks like what we're seeing is the cars do seem to be getting tighter as this run goes on. We were talking about that at the beginning. Are these cars just going to lose grip and just slide everywhere throughout the run, or are they just going to go right up the track and get tight? And that seems to be what's happening. These guys are really just hitting that outside wall almost as if you're supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have some more guys coming in. Joshua Funkhauser has gone in. Chris Wally has also gone in. Any other bigger names that was up in the front doesn't look like it. So those guys are now out on the track. We still have about 10 guys who have not pitted yet, one of them being Brian McCann, your leader currently, with almost a 10-second gap. I mean, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and from second to about 5th or 6th, I mean, you gotta wonder at what point does the law of diminishing returns take place? Because there is a strategy to staying out late, because a caution can happen. Plus, if somebody comes in too early, while they might gain time on you initially, once you go in and get those tires, they're back on old tires, and you're just running over them. As Brian McCann is making his pit stop, but I mean, right now, if you're Brian McCann, you're just taking it easy. I mean, you were pulling away from the rest of the field. You had almost a 10-second lead before this pit stop, so he can afford to really just kind of take it easy. He can even afford a mistake or two right now, as far ahead as he was. But it'll be interesting to see how this ends up.
Nice little entry into pit road. So he's got his first pit stop of the day. That's going to give Evan Faust the lead here in that 78 car, and Alan Warnecke. Oh no! And just like that, the 78 just gets clipped by the 150 of Vincent Short. Just happened to catch that. It's going to bring out the caution, which is going to be pretty bad for this field, because now we got 7 cars on the lead lap. That is the worst time to have a caution, but best time for McCann, honestly.
And Evan Faust currently voicing his frustration in the in-game chat. He did say a couple of times he was coming into pit and just got flat out run over there. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely frustrating. There's a lot of people who want there to be a feature in iRacing where you can have your driver's hand wave when you're coming into pit, and I do agree with that. I think that would be really cool to have, as kind of more of a notification for the drivers behind you, because of times like that where somebody says that they're pitting, but you're not necessarily looking down at who's talking, and so you don't know where you don't necessarily know where they are on the track, and it just causes a lot of confusion. And so that's definitely a feature that I think a lot of people would like to see. That and having your driver being able to flip the bird to other people.
Hey, you saw there, I mean, it just didn't look like Short really even slowed down much. He kind of just Hail Married that one there, and fortunately Faust was on the receiving end of that one. Faust in the pits, most likely going to use that quick repair. Ryan McCann, I need to get that out of my head. Ryan McCann up in the lead once again, so he took his pit stop at a fantastic time.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally at the perfect time. The caution came out as he was on pit road, so yeah, that timing could not have been better for him.
While we're under this caution, we do want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors for tonight. SE Signature Esports over at facebook.com/Signature Esports. If you want your high quality broadcast anywhere from iRacing to PUBG, or if you want to get into broadcasting, I do believe those guys are looking for some people. You can head over to their Facebook page and check them out. R&R Racewear at rnrracewear.com. For high-end quality racing apparel and die-cast cars, head on over to R&R Racewear. And then Loud Pedal Gaming is actually the main sponsor for tonight's race here at Charlotte. His Facebook page is facebook.com/Loud Pedal Gaming. A little bit of information I got from him. It looks like he's a streamer. Does anything from iRacing to Madden. Some FIFA is on there as well too. So definitely check out his Facebook page. And Top Notch Creations over at facebook.com/Top Notch Diecast for honestly high quality replica diecast and dioramas. You can check him out over at his Facebook page. So huge thank you to those guys for sponsoring this series and allowing us to do what we do best.
I'll tell you what, I hate to, trust me, I don't enjoy patting myself on the back, but the 150 of Vincent Short did take the fault there, and he said basically exactly what I just said a minute ago. He said that he heard somebody say they were pitting, but he didn't know who it was or where they were on the track. So again, that would be a cool feature to see your driver, you know, kind of waving out the window to let the people behind you know that you're going to come into pit.
And I did get a little bit of more information from Justin Hellslip, who was involved in an earlier incident where he did churn. Who was it that he was messing with back there? I don't see his name on the timing sheet now.
Was it Stoney Benfield?
Yeah, Benfield.
I believe it was the 66.
Yeah, he gave me some more information saying that he was just minding his own business and riding slow. He didn't get a caution, and he still had a quick repair, and his was gone. So I can kind of understand. I mean, I get the frustration and everything else like that, but at the end of the day, it's race 2 of like 30. You got a long way to go, and you don't want to make enemies early on in the race because it's not going to help you out in those later runs.
Yeah, you never know when it can come back to haunt you. I mean, if you're a driver, it's really hard to have a short memory. I mean, I've been racing in the NIS series, and I can tell you, I mean, I can give you the names of, you know, the very select few guys that I've had issues with this season. And I'm a very controversial person on the track, and so, you know, for me to be able to remember those names, you know, that kind of shows you how, you know, it gets stuck in your memory. You know, you know who's out there that you have issues with, and you never know. You know, even if you don't intend to race them more aggressive than anyone else in the future, it's still, you know, it just still sticks with you, and so. You just never know when it can come back to haunt you.
Yeah, but also makes nice rivalries. That's a weird word for me to say for some reason, as well too. So it could be interesting to see where the rest of it goes as well. Like a good rivalry every once in a while. Just like a catch-22. You know, I'm telling you, like, hey, it's okay. Like, you're 2 races in, but at the same time, like, you know what? Do it. Like, start something. It makes it for entertaining races, especially if imagine these 2 guys running 1 and 2.
Yeah,
for points.
As commentators, we're never going to argue. You know, we're never going to complain about you know, times like that. I mean, that makes for a good broadcast. So you know, and that's for race control to deal with, not us. We'll just sit back and
Absolutely
enjoy.
not. I'm going to enjoy every bit of that. So I wonder, we got 17 cars on the lead lap now. I don't think there were any waiver rounds, were there? They don't do manual waiver rounds, so I doubt everyone went back on the lead lap. We had only 7 cars on the lead lap during, so
Yeah,
surprising.
apparently there's some sorting out because the caution flag has been extended twice manually by race control. So it looks like Jeffrey Gilbalt, he, you know, again, he did accept fault for that caution and was just given an end of line penalty. So I think that's what they were waiting on to try to get that sorted out.
probably looking at replays, trying to figure out what was going on, and got a little bit of an extended yellow here, so nothing too crazy. Next week we are heading to, let's take a look here. Looks like Lucas Oil Raceway next week. I actually have never raced at that track, so I'm gonna have to put some time in just to take a look to see how that's gonna run with these cars here.
I'm sorry, what track did you say?
Lucas Oil.
Oh, I don't know if I even have that track.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that track, so I'm gonna have to snag that bad boy and
Yeah, that'll be,
see how these
that'll be an
cars
interesting
handle.
one.
Then Dover to end out October. Dover is hands down like my baby. I don't know what it is, no matter what car I'm racing, Dover is like my go-to.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one, but I'll tell you what, if these cars are slipping and sliding there as bad as it is here, that is going to be an absolute caution fest because of how Dover is. I mean, you see right now, I mean, the apron on the backstretch, there's plenty of room. You don't have that room at Dover. I mean,
No.
you spin coming out of the turn, you hit that inside wall. All it does is send you right back up the track into everybody. So that is going to be quite a chaotic race. I can just about guarantee you that.
And what I'm also noticing here too is, did they change the restart? Oh no, those are lap, yeah, because only the front 6 are double file right now, and everybody else is single.
I don't know. I wonder if they're doing that voluntarily. I'm not sure.
Interesting, but green flag underway. Brian McCann getting another huge run on that restart. And yeah, I mean, that was an interesting restart to say the least. Weird filing going on there.
I wonder how many people took a wave around there. I'm not sure.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying, because we had 7 cars on the lead lap, and now we have 17, so...
Yeah, that's my guess. Maybe there was, I mean, I guess if everybody else took an end of line penalty or I don't know. Oh, well, we'll just forget about it. Let's move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And McCann there, again, running away with this thing, almost gaining a whole second on Colt Cecil. And I swear, like, in the blink of an eye, we went from starting Charlotte to now basically only having about 30 laps left.
Yeah, it's gone by quick, just going through all those chaotic laps, trying to keep up with all the incidents. I mean, that definitely made time fly.
Absolutely, and you see back here Alan Warnecki in the 72 and Jimmy Fraser trying to get something going. Not too many battles going on, really. 4, 5, and 6. It's going to be the biggest battles. I think Chris Wally back here in this big group, battling the 33 of Jared. I can't say that name. Widener, probably Widener. Terrible.
And while you sort that out, we did have some trouble on the front stretch. Brandon Mefford.
Oh no, Benfield is in the way of Widener there in the 33. They make contact coming off of 4. Oh, he's loose, and I think he's keeping it together right now. Wow, that was something. We got some guys down on the apron, and Chris Wally
coming off the
yeah, wow, Chris Wally is around the 14. Try to get back there with them. A big shake up here. 14, the 22 of Hendrick is there. Chris Wally's front end is just traveling down the backstretch apron, and caution number 3 is going to come out for tonight on lap 69. Wow. Chaos ensues. And let's take a look and see what we got going on here. Chris Wally was the first person I saw in this incident. Oh, and Buck slowing him down on that low line. Wally seemed to be fine. Kind of travels up. Buck traveling up with him, which is weird. And he just gets loose. Unfortunately, comes down, gets into Pendergraft from the 14. He gets heavy damage from the 22 of Hendrick. And luckily, a lot of those guys were able to make it out unscathed.
I'll tell you what's really interesting and what I love about this damage model is the number 4 of Mike Harper. He was able to avoid the cars, but did make contact with the front bumper of who's the big car right there? The 5 of Wally. And I'm not sure if he had any damage from that or not. That's going to be something that we might want to keep our eye on to see if he ends up getting that damage, or if there is any damage, to see if he comes down pit road to get anything fixed. But it looked initially like the front bumper was scratched up, but then after a couple of seconds it kind of reset and fixed itself. So I'm not really sure if he does have any damage currently or not.
Take a look from Pendergraft's point of view as well too. See what happens. You see Wally coming down, cuts across his nose, unfortunately gets into the left front, and these cars are just again doing some weird things with the left front. It seems like so that left front seems to like completely disconnect from the body of the car and then find its way back. But huge wreck. Definitely one of the bigger ones for tonight. Unfortunately, Wally not having a good night, as he definitely needs those points to try to get back up into the front of the pack. But wow. And I mean, it was weird. Dustin Buck was there, like awkwardly blocking. I don't even know if he was trying to block. He just kind of just there. And it looked like he followed Wally up the track, and then unfortunately I think the turning of the wheel from going high to low really just brought that back end around.
Yeah, I mean, there's just when you start getting around like that, you only have, I mean, it's a matter of milliseconds to correct that car. It's so easy to oversteer it as well, and yeah, I mean, there is an art to, you know, getting in trouble and being able to keep your car going without it being sent around.
So now we're past 30 laps to go. We haven't made any picks for tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and see who do you think is gonna take this home? Give Alan a chance to check his mic, and we'll come back to him there. But I think I want to go with someone different. I don't think I want to. I mean, obviously McCann is running away with this thing, but I don't want to go after the guy that's been up front for the majority of the race, because you never know what's going to happen. I'm actually Warnecki in the 72 has honestly been pretty fast around this track. As long as he stays away from the wrecks, I think he could easily take this away. If we stay green. So I'm actually going to go with Alan Warnecki for this one, currently sitting in third.
Yeah, another one is Colt Cecil. He was really the only one kind of sticking with Brian McCann there before that incident. So he's definitely another one to keep your eye on. He was pretty strong there. I think that the longer the run goes, the better off Brian McCann is, because he has proven that he's been able to save his tires and really run away with things after a while. But another one, though, is Chris Quick. He has a 504 I rating, and yet he is currently sitting 6th place. In comparison, Brian McCann has a 49.41 I rating. So That is a good job by Chris Quick to be able to stick to these, to stick with this field. And, you know, he does appear to have the lowest I rating in this race, even though, you know, this is a hosted event and iRacing doesn't, or I rating doesn't actually matter. But just a good job by him to be able to be up this high in the field.
Lights are off on the pace car. These boys are itching to get back. Looks like we got the restart figured out. Everyone is double file this time around. And let's see if we can keep it green. McCann's probably going to get a huge jump here. I'm guessing restart zone is not in effect. It's just go when the leader wants to. And Cecil starting to catch on. He gets a good restart as well too. And we're underway. Lap 73. Warnecki back here battling with Jimmy Fraser in the number 6. Goes up the track with him. Fraser's going to go down low on the backstretch to see what he can do. Going into turn 3, got a great run coming off the backstretch. Warnecki's still there with him.
Oh, he gets loose. Warnecki just able to keep control of it, but yeah, you see how much momentum he loses just by getting a little bit loose in that turn.
Absolutely, and Faust is going to easily take that position away. Neil Quick in the 2 car, been up front for the majority of the night, started second, is in 6 currently, wants to get back up top to try to make a run on McCann, but now he's trying to get around Warnecki in the 72, see what he can do. But right now, Warnecki is going to hold that position.
And meanwhile, looking up front, Colt Cecil right behind Brian McCann, keeping the pressure on. You know, being able to keep up with him is one thing, but being able to pass him is just going to be even more difficult. But so far, Colt Cecil doing a great job, as he definitely seems to carry the momentum coming off of these turns.
As you can see, right on board with him currently. He's doing a pretty good job of staying with him. Doesn't look like he's using too much of the tire. Following that same line, McCain a little loose mid-turn there, coming out of the exit of 4. It's going to give a nice little run to Colt Cecil here in the 63. And now we've got a battle for the lead.
Colt Cecil has taken a different line in turn 1. He's done it for 2 laps in a row now. He's going in a little bit higher, so he loses that momentum up front, but coming off of turn 2, he's getting a good run going on to the backstretch, and that seems to be his strategy as McCann. It seems like McCann's having a little bit of trouble keeping that car under control. He is feeling the pressure right now.
Absolutely. I saw there coming off of turn 4, Cecil had about a 2-3 mile per hour difference coming off of turn 4 compared to McCann. But now he's kind of lost that.
Great turn that time, though. He did a great job, very smooth, and was able to carry a lot of momentum that time. That's frustrating if you're Colt Cecil.
Absolutely. You could taste it. You're there on the bumper. And unfortunately, just one mistake just like that, and now you've got about a 0.2 gap between you and the leader, but plenty of room behind them. 2.5 seconds off the lead. Evan Faust in the 78, Neil Quick in the 2, battling for that 3rd place position. Got a 3-way battle behind them as well, but Quick, it looks like he got around to Warnecki at some point, and has now made his way back up into the top 5. Just like that, gonna go underneath Faust in the 78, mid turn 3 coming off of 4. Nice little exit there. Gonna start to pull away, and Warnecki's got some problems on his hand. Jimmy Fraser in the number 6 is gonna start battling him going into turn 1.
And Fraser trying to make that pass now, and it looks like Warnecki pretty much gave it to him. They're just trying to kind of limp back to the finish line here, trying to hang on to a top 10 finish. But yeah, a little bit of give and take late in this race. I'm kind of surprised to see that as all over the place as these cars are going.
Yeah, we got a big battle going on back here with Jarrett Widener, the 33, Matt Henry in the 19. Harper's in this one as well too. So this is going to be for the 8th place position. The big battle's happening in the top 10 right now. The blimp cam Widener on the back bumper of Henry. But unfortunately, he's stuck to that high line. some guys have been making it work tonight, it seems like. Oh, and just like that, Harper pushes Wildner up the track, and he's going to catch that outside wall coming across the start-finish line, and that's going to take all of his momentum away right there.
And meanwhile, up in front, Colt Cecil and Brian McCann just ran the exact same lap time, 30.972. So I mean, that's about as close as you can get to dead even. This is gonna be fun. As Cecil, man, he's got the momentum. He's gonna put the pressure on McCann yet again. Did run a faster lap than him that time. So boy, these guys are just right on each other right now. And I'm surprised to see it too. I honestly thought that McCann was just gonna be able to run away with this one. He was having no issues at all before this last restart, but boy, Colt Cecil doing a great job. I'm curious, who was it?
Oh, Cecil.
No. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, I just jinxed it.
A lot of looseness right there coming off of turn 4. Man, he's all he's got to do is just recollect himself, but that mistake is going to cost him a whole second off of the lead.
Colt is going to get so mad at me when he goes back and looks at this replay because I absolutely put the broadcaster's jinx on him right there. I apologize.
You hate to see it. Broadcaster jinx jinx. That sounded weird for a second. It's us here at Charlotte lap 83 with Colt Cecil, but 1.3 seconds now. That was a huge momentum loss, unfortunately.
Oh, big time. Meanwhile, Brian McCann just ran the fastest lap, that last lap of 31.393. So, yeah, that might be it as far as the threat from Colt Cecil goes. You never know. You know, it's possible that Brian could make a late mistake, but boy, as smooth as he's been throughout this race, I just don't see that happening.
I mean, again, this battle back here with Joshua Funkhauser is unfortunately 2 laps down, but he is in this little group here with Alan Warnecke, Mike Harper, and Matt Henry still battling up here for the 7th place position. Henry is not giving it away. He's got a little bit of a gap between Warnecke, but Harper trying to get past him as well. And yeah, it's actually a pretty big group back here in the mid-pack. Joshua knows that Harper is on the lead lap, so regardless if he battles him or not, he's not going to really gain much off of that. But at the same time, Harper does not want to get in a battle with Funkhauser because it's just going to use those tires up, especially staying on that high side. The last thing you want to do is wear it out with almost 10 laps to go.
Right, and this is a strange point in the race because, you know, there's not a whole lot of laps left, but at the same time, 15 laps, I mean, that's a big difference. You know, it is still possible to really wear out your tires and not have much left in the last 5 or 6 laps. And that can definitely cost them position. So, yeah, these guys still have to be careful. They still do have to think about their tires, especially if a caution comes out because, you know, then the decision becomes very tough. Do you come in and get those tires and give up that track position, or do you try to stay out there and salvage a good finish?
We check back up front with the leaders. Colt Cecil almost dropping back 2 whole seconds from Brian McCann. Neil Quick for a second, I thought he was going to start gaining on Cecil, but it doesn't look like he's really gaining too much. Quick is out 0.3 faster than Cecil right now, that last lap by, and Colt Cecil is the slowest, about the second slowest in the top 10 right now. So I think those tires are starting to play a factor on Colt Cecil.
Yeah, there's no question. He was definitely using up his tires trying to get that lead. And I think the fact that he was so close to Brian McCann, he was getting the draft off of him too. So, you know, they were dead even when he was right behind McCann. But now that he's further back, he's about 0.4 off of McCann's time. So yeah, he is definitely falling further and further back. And yeah, I think Neil Quick is going to be able to take that second position.
Checking back here for this battle for 8th place. Again, Harper trying to get away from Joshua Funkhauser. Not really able to do it, but he finally does. He's still running that midline. I guess it's working for him, but he's trying to gain a position to get it past Warnecke. And right now, not too much going on as far as battles. It's like Wyatt Hendrick back here in the 22 is battling alongside Hunter Clark in the 11 car. Not too much happening between these two guys. Hendrick was involved in that third incident with Chris Wally there on the backstretch. He got him repaired and back out on the track. Currently sitting in 13th. Let's check back up front because Cecil is about to have some company. Real quick, finally being able to gain some momentum. Only about 4/10 off of Colt Cecil currently, and Evan Faust is even gaining some traction as well too. So we're going to see a battle here pretty quick with Neil Quick in the 2 and Colt Cecil in the 63.
One thing that we're going to have to do, the two McCanns we did find out in the last race were brothers, but now we're going to have to figure out if the 2 of Neil Quick and the 54 of Chris Quick, now we got to see if there's a relation there. Neil Quick is in the Great Plains Club and Chris Quick is in the Illinois Club. So not sure this time if there is a relation there or not.
For those of you that aren't aware, Brian McCann in the 1 car, our current leader, and Kevin McCann in the 133, who is currently battling Jimmy Fraser, are actually brothers. We weren't 100% sure last race, but we got confirmation. And apparently Kevin just not being able to do a whole lot here tonight, but his brother is definitely running away with this one. Colt Cecil, while we were talking about that, did get passed by Neil Quick in the 2 car. And now we got a huge pack battling out for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yeah, at this point, Colt Cecil, he realizes he's used up his stuff, and now he's just trying to hang on to a top 5 as he's currently being passed by Evan Faust for 3rd place. Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to hang on to that car right now. He is definitely used up his stuff.
Got 5 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, brought to you by Loud Pedal Gaming. And yeah, unfortunately, Colt Cecil has used up those tires, and Neil Quick and Faust have just basically run away from him here. So he's just in survival mode, try to take as many points as he can. But Brian McCann, no one is touching him. 3.2 seconds is his lead over Neil Quick in the 2 car. And honestly, Jimmy Fraser and McCann are the 2 battling right now for 5th and 6th. This is going to be a bigger race for McCann, as he's in 4th place in points, only 26 points behind his brother Brian McCann there. And I don't believe Fraser is actually in the top 10 at all. So this is going to help Fraser out quite a bit if he can get around McCann.
Yeah, and Kevin McCann is definitely definitely wants to get up to Colt Cecil now. Cecil is about 4 seconds ahead of him, so I don't think he's going to have enough time. But yeah, Kevin McCann definitely trying to get as many positions as he can with that unfortunate rough finish at Iowa. And he'll definitely look for another position here late. He's currently in 5th, so it's definitely a good night overall for him. But the grass is always greener, so I'm sure he'd love to finish 4th.
Yeah, with Chris Wally being involved in an earlier incident and kind of backing him up all the way down to 15th spot, that's going to open the door for McCann points-wise to get back up there. And I just noticed too, Neil Quick is 6th place right now in the standings and currently sitting in 2nd place in the race. So this is going to be a huge points lead for him as well too. Going to bump him up probably a spot or so over Joshua Funkhauser. 3 laps to go. Neil Quick trying to hold on to that 2nd place position. Evan Faust is really trying to get up there. As you can see, he's right on his bumper going into turn 3 here. Gonna take that higher line in, which is definitely the better way to go if you're trying to save those tires. And he gets a huge run, as you can tell, off of Quick. He's actually going to be battling him here going across the line. Side by side into turn 1. Faust got the low line, the preferred way to go. Quick right on that door of Faust. This battle is not over.
McCann has to worry about right now is there is a lap car right ahead of him as he comes to the white flag. So we have 1 lap to go. Brian McCann in a league of his own right now. He's able to make the pass cleanly, and it is smooth sailing for him now.
This is going to be our Loud Pedal Gaming last lap here with Brian McCann on the backstretch. Ooh, who is that there in the orange car? Getting a little loose on the backstretch there as well, too. And nobody around him. 4.7 seconds ahead of Neil Quick, ends up winning Iowa last week. Brian McCann back-to-back wins as he comes across the finish line at Charlotte Motor Speedway and is going to win tonight's race.
And by the way, we did have a spin as 2 cars were coming to the white flag, the 72 of Alan Wernicke and the 83 of Brandon Mefford. They both got into it coming off of 4 to take the white flag, but that will not affect the top 10 in any way, and just a great win for Brian McCann.
Absolutely, and stick around after the race here. We are going to have some post-race interviews with our top 3. I'm going to get that ready, but it's a huge win for Brian McCann. Back-to-backs, like it's nothing. Just a second here as I try to get these guys ready for their interview. And man, what a race here tonight. Went by quicker than I thought it would. Not a whole lot of wrecks. Like I said, if you're just kind of unfortunately joining us now here at the end of the race, we had a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah, I need to correct you. There were a whole lot of wrecks, just not a whole lot of cautions.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was that weird like sloppiness, but not so sloppy that it was causing too many incidents on the track for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of tracks like that in iRacing. It seems like there's some where all you need to do is just barely lose control of your car and the caution instantly comes out. But then there's other tracks where you have a melee on the backstretch or wherever, and the caution just doesn't want to come out. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where you get frustrated. But, you know, if you're a guy like Brian McCann, you're loving that. You're loving the fact that the caution came out sparingly.
Absolutely, as we're going to get our 3rd place finisher here in just a second. Just bear with me. Alan, I'm going to let you take this one. It's going to be Evan Faust. He is in a channel here. It doesn't look like it. We might not be able to talk to our 3rd place finisher. Wow, that is that's a first for me. Fortunately, it doesn't look like Evan Faust is in Discord, so no way to speak with him. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to move on to Neil Quick. Finished in 2nd. And did he go? I just saw him. There we go. There we go. Our 2nd place finisher, Neil Quick. Do you have a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, Neil, so you end up getting into a 2nd place finish. It seemed like Brian McCann and Colt Cecil were going to run away with things, but Cecil ended up using up his tires. Did you think that there was any chance on the restart that you'd be able to get up to McCann, or were you just fighting for 2nd place from then on?
Yeah, early in the race when I was behind Brian, and it seemed like I could stay with him until I made a mistake going into turn 1. So I was hoping to be able to do the same thing, but he just had a little bit more than what I had. And car was really good for about 20, 25 laps, and then I'd start to fall off and felt like I was starting to back up to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, just we were watching this race and it was just absolute chaos throughout the race. I mean, we were trying to stay caught up with all the different incidents that were happening, even though the caution really didn't fly that much. How difficult was it to control these cars throughout this race?
The first stint, I mean, it got pretty hairy. I would say about lap 45, lap 50. It was pretty tough to hang on, especially after you bang the wall with it, and between that damage and tires going away and trying to hang in there for position, and then pit stops coming, it did get pretty chaotic, but it was a handful.
Yeah, so you weren't really involved in too much going on there, but you did come into tonight sitting in sixth place in points, only 30 points behind Brian McCann. You did finish second, so that's definitely going to give you a nice little bump there in points, it looks like. What was the strategy kind of coming into Charlotte tonight?
Really, from practice just earlier in the week, I just thought everything would be short run. I thought there'd be a lot of cautions in this race. Actually, it was totally opposite. So, main thing was just trying to put up consistent laps, keep from burning off the tires, and of course, Brian's got a big target on his back, so that's who we're chasing each week now.
Put on a hell of a show here tonight, Neil. It was a lot of fun watching. Looks like we're going to what was I saying? Lucas Oil next week. So that'll be interesting to see how everyone does here. But while you're here, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to plug R&R Racewear. Great place for getting your racing apparel done. This is a great series. Hoping to see some more guys jump on here and support it. But great being part of this. And I know there's a couple of us from the office that are running the series. And but yeah, be sure to guys check out www.r-rracewear.com. A lot of cool stuff. We do some sprint car stuff for Kyle Larson, David Gravel, shots, all of the major hitters in the World of Outlaws.
Awesome job tonight here, Neil. Second place finish. Can't argue with that. We will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so that was Neil Quick, our second place finisher. Brian McCann, just, man, bring him up here real quick. Brian McCann, our race winner here, back to back Iowa and now Charlotte. Brian, walk us through what you did tonight to get it done.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well.
Just the strategy was to not do what I did last time and speed in pits or anything like that and put me in the back of the field because Iowa was a wider track, but this track a little shorter, I mean narrow, so it would have been tougher starting in the back.
Definitely made it look easier, pretty much up front for the majority of the night. Your brother seemed to not do too well, got caught up in a couple of different things here, but still had a decent finish. Are y'all working together? That's something I wanted to ask in Iowa. I figured with y'all being brothers, I figured y'all would probably be on the same team.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we really working together is pit strategy and when we take the green flag, but other than that, not really.
Hey, I gotta ask. So, obviously tonight went really well for you, but, I'm looking at JRT and under incidents, I'm seeing one. What did something happen in the race? Was it just a tag in the wall, or was there some contact somewhere?
It was on that first lap when Kevin was coming out of four and he got loose and started to slide, and I took it low and I didn't get in the grass, but I got on that little concrete patch where it still gives you a 1X.
Gotcha. That's always frustrating as a racer. I'll tell you what, the tire management. I mean, you seem to be the only one who was really able to handle it without much of an issue. Colt Cecil. I mean, we saw him trying his absolute best to put the pressure on you, and it seemed like it was working for a while. But once he got loose, it was all over from there. He did run the best lap of the race with a 30.434, so an impressive night for him. But I mean, was there any doubt in your mind when you saw him back there? Or did you know that he was using up his tires, or were you legitimately worried?
I was worried. I was, when I see somebody behind me like that, I try to speed up a little bit to keep him from going around me, but I was doing all I could, and he was still gaining on me in some of those laps. And then And then I got to where I wasn't looking at my mirror at all. I was just focusing on my race, and he was still right there on my bumper. And then something happened, and I looked up and saw that he wasn't in my mirror anymore. And so I'm guessing he got sideways or something, heated his tires up. But yeah, he was definitely giving me a good run there.
Well, I'll tell you this: you're absolutely welcome, because what happened was I put the broadcaster's jinx on him, because I was I mean, I was literally talking about how fast he was and how great of a job he was doing as he got loose, and so I felt kind of awful about that. But I guess you're welcome.
Well, next week it looks like we're going to Lucas Oil Raceway. How's the luck doing there for you?
I don't even know if I own that track.
Yeah, that's what we were
I'll
saying.
have to check.
We said the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've run that track, so that'll be new to me.
Well, you got a huge win here at Charlotte. Like I said, back-to-back Iowa, now Charlotte. You're already in the lead in points, 93 coming in. This win is going to boost that even higher. And it sucks because, like Alan's saying, you got that 1X. So I don't think that's going to hit you or allow you to get those bonus points because of that, which is just unfortunate. But you're running away with this thing. I mean, 20 points ahead of Chris Wally. Unfortunately, he got caught up in an incident on the backstretch on the third caution. So coming into next week, you're going to have a hefty lead.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it works out.
Well, Brian, it was a pleasure watching y'all race. We had a ton of fun up here. Do you have any shout outs you want to give while you're here?
Yeah, I actually have a list this time. R&R Racewear, thank you for the sponsorship. Loud Pedal, Chris Wally for putting this whole show on, and whoever is helping him do this. Quite a bit of entertainment. 10-4 Broadcasting, you guys are doing an awesome job.
We appreciate that a lot. We were having a ton of fun watching this. This is my first IROC series, so it's nice getting a little bit of different action that's not cup or truck racing, and these ARCA cars are a ton of fun. But Brian, congratulations on the win, man, and we can't wait to see what you can do. Maybe 3 back-to-backs here. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. Well, that was our race winner there, Brian McCann, bringing it home. And really, this turned into a better race than I figured it would.
Yeah, I mean, we figured, we figured it was going to be a green white checker first of all, but we also expected there to just not be a whole lot of green flag runs, and honestly, there probably shouldn't have been as many, as much as cars as there were that got into trouble. But that was good to see. It was good to see these guys just be able to be allowed to just keep going, and really had a good racing feel to it with a little bit of demolition derby in there as well. So just a really entertaining race.
Absolutely, and again, we do have to give a huge shout out to the sponsors. Looks like R&R Racewear getting a lot of love here tonight. But on top of that, Signature Esports giving us a huge, on our results page here, sponsoring the results page and this series. R&R Racewear at r-rracewear.com. Check them out. Loud Pedal Gaming for sponsoring this race, and Top Notch Creations as well. We didn't really have too many lucky dogs tonight, so and not a whole lot of cautions, only 3 in a 100 lap race at Charlotte, not too bad. But we'll have to see what happens next week, as we are going to Lucas Oil Raceway. Like I said, we don't think a whole lot of people really have this track, so it'll be interesting to see how it runs. And then finishing out with Dover in October there. Dover is going to be exciting though.
Oh yeah, no question about that. It's we talked about it earlier. The demolition derby. If we thought this one was going to be like that, just wait for Dover. I mean, just absolutely nowhere to correct the car. If you get loose coming off of a turn, your day is as good as done. They might need several fast repairs for that race.
Absolutely. If they got one there, it's going to go by really quick. Everyone here at 10-4 Broadcasting, myself, Josh, and Alan, it's been a pleasure being able to host this series. We look forward to the rest of the season, and we hope you definitely enjoy tonight's broadcast. Remember, check back with us here again, same time next week, 9 Eastern for the race. 10-4 Broadcasting's YouTube page, and share it. You know, if you got more guys interested in looking at the series or even looking at the broadcast, share the page around. Let everybody know where the broadcast is coming from, and we definitely want to thank you for the support. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great night, and